Very
Yes, we can
good.
hear you.
And I've heard that there is a baby joining us today. Can I ask you to mute the microphones while we are presenting? Because I don't think that we will be telling story tales for babies. It will be a really interesting webinar for teachers. And the name of today's webinar is Teaching Speaking Creatively. We're going to talk about speaking, development of speaking skills today. And our today's presenters are myself, Ella Maksakova, my team members are Malika Kasimova and Indira Rahimova. So let's start. Have you ever heard that people say, oh, yes, I can. I know the language. I understand almost everything, but I can't speak. Do you know why people find it very challenging to acquire and to develop speaking skills? Why it could be a problem? Why speaking is so challenging? Would you like to share maybe orally, or you can type? You're welcome.
Can I
Yes,
try?
please.
I think sometimes they are very good in vocabulary. They have enough how to say vocabulary, let's say package of vocabulary, but because of lack confidence, they cannot speak English.
Yeah, sometimes people concentrate on vocabulary, trying to find the right word, and losing the natural pace.
Not only vocabulary, but also tenses. They are sometimes they are confused. Am I right in using past simple or present simple? Should I use present perfect? You see,
they are thinking about forms, grammar. Yes, I can see that Barno also raised the hand. Barno, please share your ideas.
Hello, everyone. First of all, I wanted to add there might be extrovert and introverts among the learners. As we know, introverts are too shy and they sometimes feel hesitation when they speak. They feel that other speakers can laugh at them. That's why it may also be the reason for their being that much, how to say, down.
Yes, personality could be also an issue. We are all different. For some people, it's very natural to speak out, but others, they prefer to listen rather than to speak. I agree, Barno. Very good point. Any more ideas? Please be.
Yes.
Can I?
Who is speaking?
Reason. This is Sardana.
Mm-hmm.
Most of my learners are shy and not eager to speak English. Why? As a teacher, observing them, I can say that most of the language learners do not think in English. That can be the reason. They think in their own language and they talk to themselves in their own language. That can be the reason why they cannot speak English, even if they know the grammar, they know the vocabulary. And as teachers, we should taught in a way so that our learners should also speak in English.
Yes, I agree, because sometimes it's really annoying to translate from your mother tongue to a target language, and it takes time. Yes, and it really decreases your language ability, speaking skills. I agree. I heard there is one more voice volunteering to share. Is it correct? Some more ideas?
Yes, most English learners find that the reason they are having trouble in speaking is because they only depends on their too much grammar rules, draw too many parallels with their mother tongue as they speak, or simply feel anxious, or it's maybe due to the natural character of the student.
Absolutely, because sometimes it's really our cognitive abilities. We don't know the words, or we concentrate on grammar, but in many cases it could be personality. Yes.
Yes.
We have mentioned so many important things that teachers and students, they have to consider when developing and working on speaking. Let's look at the next slide. I will show it. Let me share. So people sometimes really don't know what blocks them from speaking naturally, because when they write, they may perform a better English rather than when they speak. And there are some important reasons for that. Some of them we have already mentioned while discussing together. It could be lack of vocabulary. Of course, we need to know words in order to make sentences and in order to make paragraphs out of sentences. We need not only words, but we need how to connect them, yes, to sound effectively and as intended. Sometimes even pronunciation. People feel shy and not confident speaking English because they think, oh, maybe I'm not understood, or maybe I'm misunderstood. For some students, it could be their personality that really blocks them from powerful communication, inhibition to talk. They're too afraid to start a conversation or to be engaged in a dialogue. Or sometimes it could be people just not willing to talk about or to discuss because the topic is unfamiliar. For example, when I am asked to talk about some medical stuff, I probably stay silent, remain silent here during the whole conversation because I just don't know much about the topic. Or maybe the topic is particularly for me is uninteresting and I decided not to communicate. But this is the main challenges. And let's have a look at why these challenges are important for a teacher to know what the main factor they come from. Because when we know the roots, the reasons for this, we know how to handle, how to help students to prosper in acquiring speaking skills. When we say vocabulary, it's cognition. This is something that teacher can teach and practice. The same goes for grammar. The same goes for pronunciation. So we can provide more practice, better instruction, but there is something that we cannot teach. It's like willingness to communicate or the topic, but we can create conditions for that. So there are two things when we talk about speaking. It's what we can teach and what we cannot teach, but we can create conditions so our students will be more willing to participate. So let's look at this column on the, let me see, on the right to see how it can be solved. So solution, as I mentioned, yes, something can be taught, something can be supported or fostered so the students can feel more relaxed, more confident, and more engaged and involved. So the next slide actually shows you that not everything can teacher teach, but to create an environment plus language plus teaching input, and then create the conditions for our students to develop in teaching, in speaking skills. So how to provide these conditions and what strategies to produce so the students can develop better will be continued by my team member, Malika. Malika, welcome. Let me,
Thank you, Ella. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing your insights. And as you noticed that, as you mentioned it, we may have some problems. Oh, Ella, sorry, 2 minutes. Can you continue?
Okay.
My baby is crying. I'm really
it's
sorry.
Okay. It's absolutely normal. So, dear participants, the problem that students may face, you can see that the first thing that we really trouble with as teachers is an inhibition to talk. They just sometimes stumble. They cannot say a word, even though we know they know the words. Shyness and inhibition. And they really start struggling to find the right word. What to do in this situation? There is nothing to teach about. It's not about cognition. It's not about our mental ability. It's about our feeling. The first thing to do is to try to create very relaxed, friendly atmosphere at the class where pupils, they know they can make mistakes. It's fine. They can even laugh at each other. It's fine, but they will progress anyway, because mistakes, it's a normal process. It's a normal procedure of any education. So we need, as a teachers, when we work on speaking, and speaking is a productive skills, very challenging skills, make sure that your class is a very friendly place to speak in target language. Please, Malika, the floor is to you.
Sorry for that. Sometimes our speaking activities do not work as we intended, yeah? Because we and our learners may face some problems like shyness and inhibitions. By nature, some people are introverts and shy, as you, dear participants, mentioned it before, and this can be some obstacle to express their feelings, their emotions, or their ideas to everybody. And sometimes our learners have difficulty in finding suitable words to express their opinions. And in this way, they also stop talking, stop the conversation earlier, and they may can just lose themselves, and they don't want to continue their conversations because of they don't have enough vocabulary. Therefore, we should teach them beforehand topic-related vocabulary and explain the structures that they can use during their speech. And the most common problem that we have, it's the fear of making mistakes. Like, it's human nature that we all don't want to make mistakes, especially in front of the audience, yeah? And this fear prevent our learners to participate in speaking activities. Of course, it's not easy to speak in front of the class, in front of the other people. Fear, we should explain our learners it's not like big deal to make mistakes, and we can overcome all these problems like gradually. And sometimes we have low participation of our individuals, and it can be seen nowadays in our online lessons. In face-to-face lessons, like, we can feel our learners, we can see their eyes, we can interact with them, and we can encourage them to speak more. But in online sessions, unfortunately, our learners are much more passive than offline sessions, right? And lastly, L1 use. Of course, it's easier to tell something, to express our feelings and ideas in our native language. And sometimes, even if our learners are able to express something in English, they prefer to use their L1. And this is also a big problem that prevent practice English. Ella, can you move to the next slide, please? So how can we overcome these problems? Do you have any suggestions, dear participants?
Yes.
Please.
We can try speaking, looking at the mirror, and pretend that someone is actually listening to us.
Yes, you are right. It's very great to improve, to fight with our fear, yeah, to speak in front of the audience. Thank you. Any other ideas? Any other suggestions?
The other suggestion
raised her hand.
The other suggestion, can I?
Yes, Dordana, go ahead.
As I am a teacher, I also want to practice my speaking, and I do it like I read one extract or one page, one one-page reading, and I read. After I read, I try to speak what this reading was about. And in this way, I think I can develop my speaking skills, and I also suggest my students to do so in their free time.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it's also a great way. Thank you, Durdana.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Do we have any volunteers?
So is it about overcoming the fear or improving the speaking skills?
Actually, it's about overcoming some problems which I mentioned above.
Malika, if you can allow me to add something, because it's very important issue. When we talk about speaking, dear participants, we need to understand, because speaking is a very complex process, and it's not only about cognition, the knowing of the words, grammar, and our articulation. It's also about how confident or about our willingness to communicate. So it's both, right? Cognition and our affective, how do we feel, how confident we can feel about this. So the teacher have to deal with both.
Yes, Ella, I completely agree with you.
Can I share my own experience as a student? When I entered the university, my speaking was very bad. It was very, I was very shy. I couldn't speak even a word in English, and I was very nervous. And actually, my grammar was perfect, but I couldn't just connect my ideas. The reason was because I didn't practice before entering the university. I was kind of focusing only on grammar. But how I improved my speech was
Please speak up or closer to the microphone, because we are losing your voice.
Okay, so I improved my speaking with the help of presentations, because at university we were supposed to make several presentations, and while getting ready to them, I kind of could make it much better. In 1 year, it became much better. So I think speaking to yourself again and again, or speaking to your friends, will also really help to improve speaking skills.
Yes.
Yes, exactly. Thank you, Dilraba. And here we have some suggestions. First one is class environment, the essentialness of the class environment. If your students have friendly relationships with each other, when they can rely on each other, so they feel more confident in speaking activities. Therefore, it's our one of the main duties for the teachers to build a friendly atmosphere and environment in our classes. And next one is to help students to speak actively and correctly. And for this, we should scaffold, helping them pre-teaching vocabulary and structure beforehand, so that they will be able to use all this knowledge in their speaking, and to ease the process. And also we should remove their nervousness, fear, and anxiety. So how? Just being friendly, like looking at them, smiling, nodding them, approving them when speaking, will really help them and encourage them to speak. It really helps to remove their nervousness. And another a good technique or method, let's say, in a classroom is arranging the seats in a circle way, like students facing each other. If you have a chance, if your classrooms are big enough, so do that, please. Just arrange the chairs in a circle way, and it gives like the atmosphere for your learners just chatting, talking in a cafes. It's kind of friendly talks, and this will also help your learners to speak more freely without any fear and nervousness. And the last suggestion is letting them speak sitting in their seats. So we have such behavior from our schools that if we want to say something, that we should stand up and then express our feelings, yeah, or feelings, thoughts, our ideas. But when we speaking in sitting position, it's much more convenient. And when we don't see the audience, when we are not in front of the audience, it can help us to speak more easily. And especially, I think this method is suitable for these shy students or introvert students more. So next, in the next slide. Yeah, it's all about encouragement. So after students finish their speaking in class, we should let them feel that they have made some progress. Just don't forget to give some feedback and say some positive words or expressions like "good job," "I agree with you," or "you mentioned very important points," and so on. And be formed in a gentle way and give them prize. Like we may put them grades if it's like our schools, or we may just give them small gifts for their progress in speaking. Never get frustrated, angry, or impatient. So it will impact negatively to our speakers, to our learners. We should be very patient when our students are expressing their opinions, and we should listen to them till the end. And we should show them that their opinions are very valuable to us. Be nice, sensitive, and approachable person. If they feel that we are friendly with them, if we are approachable, so they also feel less stress while they are speaking. Treat with kindness and respect. Respect all your students, and teach other students to respect each other as well. When one of your students is speaking, so if others listen them in a respectful way, so it's also very useful in our like, let's say, speaking activities. And never embarrass anyone for a laugh. In some cases, we face some hilarious situations. Sometimes our students make some mistake, yeah, and this may cause some funny situation, and students may laugh at her or him, and don't do that. And ask your students not to laugh, because this bad memory can be held throughout person's life. Therefore, we shouldn't embarrass anyone. Value their opinions and be careful with interrupting them. Sometimes we have to interrupt them to correct their mistakes, but we can do it after their speech. We can tell them individually their mistakes in order not to embarrass them in front of the audience, in front of the class. So just be careful with interrupting. While we interrupt our students, they can just lose the flow of their ideas while they are speaking. Next slide, please. So, and how to develop speaking skills. Now, Dilraba, it is about developing speaking skills. If you have any suggestions, if you have any experience in your teaching, or if you deal with this kind of problem with developing speaking skills of your learners, you may feel free to share your insights.
Can I offer my suggestion.
Yes, please.
Some of my students and my friends, we used to use go to be British BBC Learning English, and then we used to visit podcast section, and there was news 6-minute English, and when we are listening to them, we used to also download the PDF format, the script of that listening, and then we would just read along with that people talking in the listening, and it actually helped us both with our pronunciation and intonation, with the flow of speech, and it also helped us to improve a little bit of our fluency, and also helped to uh, improve our listening in terms of accent and all other things.
Oh, thank you. That's great. I will also try it with my own students. Thank you for sharing. Any
You're
other
welcome.
volunteers? Ella, can you move to the next slide, please?
Can I also talk about my
Of
opinion?
course. Sure, Durdana.
Well, thank you. I'm thinking about giving one film to my learners before the lesson, one day before the lesson or a week before, so that they watch this English film, and we can discuss this film in the class, and devote some more minutes, 20 or 15 minutes for discussion. And call up the names who I can call up the names who are silent from among the students, and encourage them to speak about their opinions. This is
Thank you, Durdana.
my suggestion. Thank
With
you,
this
Miss Malika.
activity, with this technique, you also improving listening skills of your learners, right? While they are watching films. Great, thank you.
Thank you,
And
Miss Malika.
thank you. Feruza Sabirova, you are raising your hand. Would you like to say something? Or it's by mistake? Okay.
No, it's not. I'm going to express my feelings insights to this point. So in my own experience, I made shadowings. In a nutshell, this technique is about imitation. You have to listen how a native speaker says something and try to copy it. For example, I just picked my favorite video with subtitles, made sure that it was something I enjoy, and then listen to it many times, to the video once, and read the subtitles to get a good grasp of the general content and flow, and try to imitate the narrator sentence by sentence. It really helped me to develop my speaking skills.
Great, Firuza, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. So, speaking in real life situations, so we are preparing our students to use English in real life situations, not only in the classroom, right? So therefore, our activities, our tasks should also be authentic. First one is chatting with friend or teacher. Like we may design different activities, such as telling friend about an amusing weekend experience. When people are speaking about themselves, so they have more to say, right? And we all like to speak about ourselves. And this is kind of usual. We can use this activity every, like in our every lesson, like how did you spend your weekend, or how did you spend your evening? Yes, or how did you do your homework, who helped you? And this kind of questions can help them to speak about their daily routines, their interests, or their hobbies. And we all know that the great ways for improving speaking is the role play and simulations. And especially when we organize this kind of activities with the realia, it would be much more interesting. So bring the necessary like objects, things to the classroom yourself, or you may just ask your students to bring this kind of things to the classroom in order to build the environment of the shop or the restaurant. And you may have a great activity like buying something in a shop. We may bring just like some fruits, yeah, or vegetables, and make like some money from the paper, and we may have this kind of role plays and simulations, or ordering food from a menu. This will also be kind of interesting for our learners. So at least once in a month we can organize such role plays and simulations. It would be very memorable process for your learners as well, getting some selfies, yes, and to creating a very nice atmosphere and environment in your classroom. Ella?
Okay, thank you very much, Malika. Now I'm back with you, dear audience. And the next is showing two very important factors as accuracy and fluency. And I would like to ask you all, dear participants, what do you think is more important, what we shall focus on as teachers when teaching speaking at our classrooms? Please tell us your position. What do you think we need to prioritize, speaking or accuracy? Oh, sorry, fluency or accuracy?
Accuracy.
As a teacher,
Uh-huh. I'm all ears. Yes,
teacher,
please speak up.
I want to keep the balance between fluency and accuracy. I cannot prioritize one after other, because they are connected with each other.
Mm-hmm.
We cannot ignore either of them.
Good.
Okay.
Good point. What would others say? Teachers, please, we all teach this very important productive skills, and we need to be sure what to look for. Shall we assess them for fluency or accuracy? What's more important when we speak?
Accuracy.
Yeah, good point.
Let me express my opinion.
Why accuracy? I've heard one opinion.
Lady,
yes.
you can go first. This lady can go first. Yeah, and then I'll be the next one.
Very good.
Okay, thank you. So, you know, it depends. If I teach, for an example, first grade or the second grade, I mean primary school learners, for them, fluency is the first one. I cannot say, hey, you are mistaken. Hey, stop here. Do not say this, do not say what, that, you know. For me, the most important thing is they are speaking. They are improving their speech. Here, I pay attention. Yeah, here I'm focusing on their fluency. Every time I speak with them, I try to make them to involve them into the process and to make them speak as much as possible. But if I teach 11th grade learners or students from the higher education, I mean universities, fluency and accuracy should be like a twins. You know, in every speaking exams, like in a SAFER, IELTS, in the rubrics, we can see fluency and accuracy as well. They should be fluent, and at the same time, they should pay attention to their sentence structures, tense using, I mean, grammar, everything should be on the same level, you know?
Yes,
so I want to say that it depends.
I see your point. You mean that for school students, you prioritize fluency. You first let them acquire natural pace, and then,
Yeah.
of course, there will be time for accuracy.
Of course, yeah.
Okay, now we are coming back to the accuracy point. Yes, please support your position.
Yeah, thank you very much. And so we have here fluency and accuracy. And when we first think about fluency, as the previous speaker told us, it's both equally important and very crucial for both learners and teachers. But fluency, in a sense, it's kind of a part of marking criteria in any exam, TOEFL or IELTS or in any other. But if I have to give my opinion, I would say accuracy would be the first one and more important than fluency itself, because fluency, as we know, is the process of talking and speaking a language using coherence and cohesion.
So you rank
But
accuracy
when we speak,
over the fluency.
yes, and also accuracy. For example, if we teach Uzbekistan students here, and we actually um, of course start from teaching them grammar first, and then we teach them to be, and to be in different tenses, was, were, and shall, will, and this and this. But a lot of the times, a lot of learners of English, after they start speaking English, after let's say 1 or 2 years, they still lack accuracy. For example, referencing. They talk, we ask them to speak English, but sometimes in their speech there is a lack of referencing. For example, we don't know what they are talking about or who are they referencing to. That's why I would say more than fluency, we should be paying more emphasis on this accuracy. And I think when we can actually make students prioritize accuracy over fluency, I think it kind of gives us a lot more advantage in teaching them and making them understand that fluency is not actually the most important thing, but it's also the most, but after accuracy.
Very good
So
point. Just before giving the
Yes.
other participants a chance to say a word, I would like just to comment on this very interesting opinion. Accuracy, as I understood from your position, really deals with the meaning, right? That's why you say accuracy
Yes.
is very important. Very good,
Mhm.
because it's connected to the meaning. Yes, please.
May I?
Them.
Yes, of course.
Who is?
Yeah, we're listening.
Okay. Well, both of them, fluency and accuracy, are essential part of language learning and speaking. But as a teacher, I would encourage my students to focus on more fluency than accuracy, because once we achieve assertive in our fluency, then we can start focusing on accuracy and start reducing our accent and using expressions that are more appropriate, and we can fix our grammar. So fluency, we should start it first.
Okay.
So can I
Thank
also
you.
share your opinion?
Thank you for your opinion. You say that fluency is more important to make students feel more confident, start speaking actually, and then you will let them work on their accuracy more. I've seen one other person raise the hand. Is it correct?
Yes.
Please. Yes, you're welcome.
Okay, accuracy and fluency are the two main factors which determine the success of the learner. And accuracy always refers to the ability of the learner to produce grammatically correct sentences in their speech. The learner should not only know correct grammatical rules of the language, but also able to speak and write accurately. Fluency, on the other hand, refers to a level of proficiency in communication. It's the ability to produce written and spoken sentences with ease, efficiently. General language teachers always have to deal with some students having different language backgrounds, because some students are accurate in speaking and writing but hesitate to speak in public. That's why I prefer fluency rather than accuracy.
Dear teachers, from your opinions, I understood that we really have to be very careful about our students, because some students, they really need more practice with fluency. They know the grammar rules, they know how to connect, but they're so kind of awkward about making mistakes, though they first think about the sentence in their head, on their minds, and then produce it. But some students, they're really willing to communicate and they lack some accuracy points. So we need to give a differentiated approach to our students. But I agree that
From the
both
beginning,
are
yeah.
important. It may be equally in some cases, maybe in some classrooms, more fluency prioritized, and then the accuracy lacks the attention of the teacher and the student. So it depends on the classroom and the students. I would like to share with you a very short video, and I will be commenting it while it's unfolding, while it's streaming. It's actually, it's a very simple sketch of what is accuracy and fluency and how these two parts are cooperating and correlating with each other. Let me know if you cannot see the video. Don't worry if you cannot hear the sound. It's okay. It's just the music. Okay. Let me know if you can't watch what is displayed on the screen. Is it visible? Hello, is it visible?
We can see. Yes, yes.
So the first thing that you can see, it is an assembly line, something that helps us bring the process quickly. The first thing is our idea, concept in our mind. And of course, we need an idea, but we need to pack it inside. So we need vocabulary, grammar, and syntax to make a sentence. It's called a formulation. This is what happens in our mind of our students. When we have grammar, vocabulary, and syntax in place, we need to pick it, articulate it, yes, to pronounce our ideas, and then to get the message delivered. And how quickly we can do it, this is the fluency. Fluency is an assembly line. We can have an idea, put it into words, and articulate it. And how quickly we can do it is our fluency. So it's two helix. It's a product of two factors, accuracy and fluency. I hope it, oh, sorry, next one. So what focus on? It really depends on the classroom and the students. But coming back to how to teach speaking skills, I mentioned it before that something we can teach, but something we cannot as teachers. We only can provide conditions so the students can thrive and prosper in this productive skills. So conceptualization idea, it's about providing them with interesting topics and classroom discussions, yes, points. What comes to grammar, vocabulary, syntax, I mean, how the sentence is connected. Of course, this is what teacher can work together with the student, practicing and practicing. Plus, we mentioned speaking competence. It's to teach students to clarify if they don't understand, or to ask a speaker to repeat, so to get some time to concentrate and get ready for the answer. And of course, phonologies, how they articulate and pronounce, it's also a part of the speaking skills, and how quickly they will do it. Of course, you know that perfect comes with practice. The more we practice this process, the better or the more proficient our students may become. So with fluency, it's just the assembly line, how quick we can do this process. But everything starts with the concept, with an idea. Grammar, vocabulary, syntax, it's accuracy. We really need them to sound ourselves meaningful, and articulation is necessary to actually deliver our message. How quickly we can do it, it already comes to fluency. And now we're coming back to the most engaging part of our webinar today, activities, how we actually teach them about accuracy and how we provide conditions for concentrating and generating interesting ideas. And now the Indira will take turn. Indira, please.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, we can.
Yes. Okay. Sorry. something went wrong. Okay. Thank you, ladies, for good information and how to improve the speaking, because we know that, as Ella mentioned, speaking is very crucial part of our lessons. So we discussed the strategies how to improve speaking, yeah? And let's move to the activities that can help us to increase the level of our fluency and accuracy. So the first one is tell me into activity. For this activity, you need just article. It can be any article that is related to your topic. And after that, you should give a minute or some time for your students to get prepared for this. And their task is to read the articles and get the main key points of the article to present in 2 minutes. I think this is very helpful activity because within the limited time, they should focus on only the main factors that were discussed in the articles, and it can improve also the fluency of the learners, and it can also develop their reading for detailed strategy. Can we move to the next one? Ella. Yeah, next activity that can be appealing to your students is called port, pot, paired. They are the minimal pairs. Your task is to write them on the board, or it can be the Zoom board, yeah, if you are conducting online lessons, and you should write minimal pairs like in the picture here you can see port, paired, port, and they are 9 minimal pairs, and each minimal pair should give one number. For example, you should give 1 to port, 2 to paired, and put 3 like this. You should write them on the board, and after that you should give them time to look at them and try to memorize in their brain. After that, you should erase them from the board and give your number or any kind of number. And your learner's task will be to pronounce the numbers not in numbers but with these minimal pairs. I think this kind of activity can boost their critical thinking skills as well, and with this activity you can also help your learners to increase their speaking skills. And can you move? Next activity, which is very interesting, is called concentric circle. For this also you need any kind of article related to your topic, and you should prepare some questions from the article, and you should divide the class into 2 by giving them chance to themselves. For example, 1 to 1 to 1 to, and they will decide which group they will go in order to participate in this activity. And they will the first group stands like in a circle, and the second group stands in front of them, and you should provide them with handouts of your questions, and they should do the task like you will give them a minute, and within this minute they should answer as many questions as they can. Okay, they can after that you should say stop and move. The first group doesn't move, but the second group after your voice hearing your voice like stop should move in a time circle. Yeah, they should move to the next person and start to discuss like again in a minute, and the game ends when the questions are finished. And I think this is very good activity because by this they can cooperate with each other, and they can also share ideas and get some ideas from their peers. And it can also improve and develop their speaking skills, because they in this activity they are free and there is no control over them or what to say, whether they are speaking according to the fluency or the accuracy, but they are free what to speak, because the main idea is just to speak. And next activity that we are suggesting is called, can you move? Ella, can you move to the
Is
next
it
slide,
visible?
please?
Yes, I've moved the slide. I think it's on the way. It's coming. Wait a second. Can you see it? No? No.
Okay.
Oh.
No, it's
Yes.
moving.
Okay, once again. Now, is it on the screen? Can you see it, Indira?
Yes.
Indira, can you see the screen? At least I can, and I hope you can too.
Yeah, Indira, is it about dream
Can you hear me?
vacation? Indira, is it about your dream vacation?
I think
Yes,
it is
can you
about
hear me
dream
now?
vacation.
Yeah, we can hear you, Indira, and we
Okay.
can see your slide. You may just go on.
Yeah, sorry for this. Something went wrong with my internet connection. So let's talk about next activity, which is called Tell Us About Your Dream Vacation. This is like a second type of IELTS speaking test, but in this, you should use the map of the world. You can access it in geology.com website, and this website is very helpful because it gives a lot of information about the countries and their territory, and everything is covered in this site. You should give them time to look through the site, which country or which city they want to visit in their vacation, on their vacation, and they should answer the who, what, where, and why questions while giving answers to this question, like where I want to go, with whom I want to go, what I want to do there, where I want to spend my lifetime vacation, and why I especially chose this country to visit. And this will help them to think critically, because they shouldn't just give some speech, but they should think about the reasons why they are choosing this country and give some justifications. Can you move to next?
Yes, Indira, I just would like to draw the attention of our attendees that when you give your students some time to answer the questions, they will be able to produce a better, of course, speech. And that is one of the recommendations in your slide. Give them some time to prepare their ideas and thought, and they will be ready to produce longer and more accurate speech. I wanted to pay the attention that is on the slide.
Right. And the next one is shopping activity. I think we are, a lot of people are shopaholic people, yeah, around the world. And sorry, there is misspelling, have. In this activity, you should use any kind of purchasing websites like Amazon.com, and you should have the students discuss what they have purchased recently, and are they satisfied with the product. And after that, they should go to Amazon.com with the help of their smartphones. And before that, you should divide the group into pairs, because they will give $1,000 for their purchasing, for their shopping, because we love shopping, and they may be very satisfied with this activity. And on the board, you will give the money, and their task will be to buy as many products as possible, and but here they should spend only $1,000 and they shouldn't go over $1,000. Here is the key, and the payer which buys a lot of products with this amount of money will be the winners of the game. And I think this is very helpful because they can scan the items from the website. They can also come across with the words that are related to the shopping or any kind of fields, because we know that Amazon covers a lot of fields. Yeah, we can be exposed to these fields with this kind of websites, and this is very helpful to prove their products in front of their peers, like in front of the audience. They were just pieces of advice to help you to improve your learners speaking skills. And can you move? It's time to reflect what was wrong in our presentation and with what you are not glad, and you can share here just for further improvements.
What to do
Dear
with those
participants,
students who are... okay, sorry.
Thank
I
you
just
so
wanted to
much.
ask one question. Yeah, I
please,
wanted to
yes,
ask...
if you have question, it's time. Yes, let's
Yes.
discuss.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask one question. What to do if students' language knowledge are poor and they just start to learn how to speak? How I can boost their speaking, even if they are just on the minimum level of English knowledge?
You mean they are beginners, yeah?
Beginners, starters even, and children, their age group, they're like till 16.
Till 16? And I
Yes,
think
from 7 to 16. What? Sorry?
You mean that your students are all in one group, the different age students from 7 to 16 are in one group, or they are in different groups?
No, they're in different groups.
Mm-hmm.
But they are all beginners.
And yeah, but they're all beginners, and most of the students are so passive naturally. I mean, they're not so enthusiastic, they're not so full of energy. They learn English because their parents want them to learn it, and they're so just not want to do everything. They're just not interesting, and whatever you can do, they just not interesting. So what can I do?
Debates can also very active attention grabbing activity, because we know we are human beings like to contradict each other. Yes, you should divide the group into pros and cons, and they should give their opinions, and I think that it can also help you. And another activity can be simulations, or they can also be role plays. They just should join the team to act, to present something, and I think it's very helpful also to your beginner learners. And Ella, do you have any suggestions?
I would like just to add from my own experience, because I see that this particular teacher is struggling with students' apathy. It's very difficult to teach anything when they're not willing, right? And until you will be able to engage them, you won't be able to teach them. So you mean that they're beginner students, and it would be a very good victory if you can elicit at least one or two words from them together. I don't know your students, but what would I do? I would bring a mystery box with some simple cards or realia, and we will try to guess. Because for them to produce at least one word saying a pen or a cat, or at least one word, then two words, maybe then it will be better to start with simple, small steps of victory, engaging them, rather than to expect a full sentence if it's beginners and if they are totally like cold sheets and they're not interesting, they apathy. So the first you need to engage them into the process, and then they will be more eager and open to your teaching. I would try to grab the attention with something engaging and interesting, like guessing, and at least be patient with your expectations. At least if you will be able to elicit 1, 2 words together, then a short sentence, you are on the right path. You are doing progress.
Okay. Thank you very much.
But no, yes.
Actually, I would like to say thank you for today's valuable webinar. It was really a really good experience for us, because we have once again learned what we should, what things we should take into account while we are having speaking lessons, or what kind of encouragement and what is the producing way to speak in other language, and how to design our speaking classes as well.
You are welcome, of course, all of you, because for teachers, it's always a struggling topic to teach speaking. Dear teachers, can I ask you all one question before we say goodbye to each other, or if you maybe have more questions, we are still here to answer. But one question from me to you. Do you think that for an English teacher in Uzbekistan classroom, is it okay when a teacher sometimes make mistakes while speaking, or it's absolutely not acceptable?
I think it's okay. I think we should Uzbekistan teachers first admit that English is not our first language. Even though we spend 100 hours of learning every day, we give it like our 100% of our attention to it every day. And even though, let's say, we can see it in the case of a native speaker or someone from another country coming to Uzbekistan and living here for 25 years, but that person still has some nuances and has some problems understanding our dialect. For example, we sometimes use, excuse me, my Uzbek, but we say "Bashari kursun" and these things like that. So these kind of dialect-based phrases can be very difficult, and that's why we should also, as second, or let's say, English is not our first language, of course. As a learner of English, or even though what our level is, advanced, pre-intermediate, or more than advanced, we should actually, as teachers, admit that English is not our first language, and during the class, we should also admit that, or when we make grammar-based mistake, or intonation or pronunciation-based mistakes, we should admit that, and then let those students know that we made these mistakes and prevent them from making those potential mistakes in the future.
What about others? Do you think that teachers should avoid making mistakes? The speech should be perfect when you are teaching, or you think it's okay, it's acceptable?
Actually, it's up to the type of mistake.
I
think the mistakes like at elementary level or pre-intermediate level, but the average might be acceptable, but teachers should do their best in order to sound as native speakers, like to free their speech from the mistakes.
I think that's totally, that would be so fake, I think, to imitate a native speaker. I think we can never do that. Even though we live in America for 25 years, we never, as teachers, can never live up to expectations of our students. They will never acknowledge, and then they will never give like their full credit to us, thinking that we are native speakers. I think the idea of trying to sound like a native is actually, I don't know, maybe it's it's just fake. It doesn't help. I guess making mistakes is acceptable, no matter what kind of mistake we make. I think admitting a mistake is acceptable, and this is the way we learn, through making mistakes.
Yes, of course. We are not just speakers of English, we are teachers. And for our students who are really inhibited and afraid and concerned very much about making mistakes, of course, we should first of all, to let them to transmit the message, to convey the message that mistakes are fine, but we need to learn them how to correct themselves. Yes, to give them a strategies and tools. Of course, you can make mistakes. Look, sometimes I make a mistake. It's okay. It's normal. Of course, I'm as a teacher. We are as a teacher should have higher standards, right? Than just users. That's why we have a license, like moral license to teach others. For students, it's important to be sure that they're not punished for a mistake, and the teacher is here to come back and to help them to correct their mistakes and to teach them how to correct themselves, to notice it in a very, of course, friendly and good way. More ideas? We have some 5 minutes more, maybe?
Yes,
I can see.
I have an opinion. As a teacher, when of course we are not native speakers, and sometimes I've made mistakes, and when I realized, I said, I made this mistake on purpose, and you should correct me. We can change it as our mistakes as it was game, and we made it on purpose.
Very good. This is like a noticing, yes, very good. Yeah, strategy, very good strategy, I would like to say. So, team members, Indira, Malika, would you like to add something before we finalize and recap our webinar?
No, I just want to share my gratitude to all of our participants for participating in our webinar. Thank you a lot for being active during the webinar.
Thank you very much for being with us. We hope that the whole August of month was very useful to you, and now you feel more prepared for your classrooms for this academic year. And we wish you from our ELT community all good luck, patience, good smart students, lots of patience and creative ideas. Stay tuned with our ELT community project, and I hope we will be able to serve you with much more.
Yeah, good luck. Thank you, dear participants. You
Thank you
made
very
this
much to you,
webinar even more
ladies.
interesting today.
Thank you.
Thank you for being active.
Thank you too as well. Hats off to you, ladies. We are looking forward to the next webinar. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
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 Goodbye. Thank you.